our brothers here said this is a coup d'etat. It's not a coup d'etat. This country decided to free itself 100% from the colonizers. The rulers of us here, our colleagues, can't see it. They think it's a coup d'etat which was developed by the oppressors to change the kind of caliber of leaders who were there at that time, to remove them. They can't see the difference. That tells you the problem we have. Discussion was about this continent, Africa. As you know, Africa was colonized many centuries and oppressed, and every other thing was done by people who came here. Africans decided to say, let us now be free. And we went through that kind of situation and succeeded to have Africa, as they would say, being freed. But those who had colonized us, it was just a bit that they say, we can do this. They continued, in a sense, indirectly, to take everything in Africa they found, to claim that this belongs to them. And they still do it today. Even that freedom that we are talking about got watered down by the manner in which the relations between Africa and the colonizers were. Because colonizers still believe it was their own. And therefore, even having said, we are now free, but the misery, the problems that we still face are the same. And therefore, we as Africans have to discuss that matter and correct the wrongs. I think this country is a glaring example, this country, wherein those who oppressed them wanted to continue to do so. What was good with the leaders here, they said, not now. And it was therefore important to discuss with the president here. What can we do to ensure that this process that has been taken begins again in Africa to finally liberate Africa? If you look at what has happened, you will realize that the colonizers, since the time up to now, still believe that Africa belongs to them. And what we are discussing is, no, that time must end. We should run our own affairs. It's absolutely important. We can't even say we'll talk on this under the carpet. No, it's just facts. We discuss things related to what I've just talked about, and as you know, I can't give you all the details because we were discussing as Africans, and we are not necessarily saying we want to tell the world what is happening. We want to say, we who think alike now, what can we do to help Africans to be finally free? That's what we talk about, and I'm very happy to have met my brother here, because I think he's something in Africa that Africa will always remember. of course, since we've met, it is possible that we'll meet again and meet again and meet again, because we need to quicken, make Africa be what it is supposed to be. Just one small point to make, and I hope Africans will listen to this small point very well. This country decided to free itself finally, not under the yoke of the colonizers, to show that we still have a serious problem. The organization here in Africa put that under the area of them committing a very serious crime which is always talked about. Our brothers here said this is a coup d'etat. It's not a coup d'etat.
When Jacob Zuma,
this country
Captain
decided
Ibrahim Traoré,
to free
it wasn't
itself
just a meeting. It was a reunion
100%
of history with itself,
from the
old lion
colonizers.
and the young cub who refuses to be tamed.
The rulers
Listen
of
to
us
Zuma's
here,
words
our
closely.
colleagues,
He
can't
didn't
see
come
it.
to flatter Traore.
They think it's a coup d'etat
He came
which was
to
developed
testify,
by the
to
oppressors,
confirm that Africa's
to
so-called
change
independence
the
was
kind of
nothing but a
caliber
rebranded
of
leash that the
leaders
same
who were
hands
there
that
at that
once
time
whipped us now pretend to
to
guide
remove
us.
them.
He said it plainly.
They can't see the
They still
difference.
believe
That tells you the
Africa
problem
belongs
we
to
have.
them. That one sentence is a mirror held up to the entire African Union, the IMF, the NGOs, and every smiling puppet president still seeking permission before breathing. Zuma didn't mince words. He reminded the world that Burkina Faso's so-called coup was no coup. It was an act of cleansing, a return to ownership, a declaration that Africa will no longer consult the thief about how to recover its stolen house. And when he said, "We discuss as Africans, not for the world to hear," that was a warning. Because for the first time in decades, African leaders are whispering to each other in a language the West can't translate, the language of liberation. Zuma recognizes Traore for what he truly is, a rupture in the system. A man who didn't just reject colonial control, he broke the algorithm of submission. And you can see it. Old revolutionaries who once thought the dream had died are now turning toward Burkina Faso like it's a sunrise. When he said they called it a coup because they don't understand freedom, he spoke for every nation still shackled by treaties, debts, and imported ideologies. They called Sankara's dream a rebellion. They called Lumumba's clarity extremism. They called Nkrumah's vision madness. Now they call Traore's courage a coup. But history is smarter than propaganda. What happened in Burkina Faso wasn't a coup. It was a correction, a course reset, a reminder that no amount of diplomacy can replace dignity. Zuma's visit signals something far deeper than political solidarity. It's ancestral. It's the elder passing the torch to the next guardian of the continent's conscience. It's Southern Africa shaking hands with the Sahel to declare the new liberation has begun. And if you listen closely, you'll hear it. The sound of the old chains rusting, the sound of the new Africa waking. This is Media One Africa, the voice of a rising continent. We don't report revolutions, we document them.